This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You are watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Okay, so 2 days ago, I did a poll here on YouTube asking who it is that you would like to see Hughie Fury take on next. And the names that I pulled out were names that were mentioned in the recent IFL TV interview with Peter Fury and Eddie Hearn. So I used those names. If it was just me doing a regular poll on who it is you want to see Hughie Fury fight, I would have pulled out other names such as Deontay Wilder. I would love that fight, absolutely love that fight. And I've been saying it for the past couple of years that I think Hughie Fury boxes his ears off. I'd love to see him take on a Dillian Whyte or a Martin Bakole. That would be a great fight as well, and a couple of others. But I had to use the names that were used in the IFL TV interview. Now, just under 4.4 thousand of you took to the vote, so I do appreciate it. I know not everybody gets to see the polls. You pretty much have to rely on it popping up in your recommended feed, unless you go physically searching for it in the community section, which I think YouTube really need to improve on that. But either way, I think just under 4.4 thousand was a pretty good result. So thank you very much for those of you who did actually get to see it and have a vote. So who is it that you'd like to see Hughie Fury take on next? Now the names, as I said before, were the names mentioned in the IFL TV interview with Peter and Eddie. And this is what the names were. Michael Hunter versus Filipovic winner. We know that these guys will be having a rescheduled purse bid for the IBF mandatory position. King Kong Luis Ortiz was also mentioned. The Derek Chisora versus Joseph Parker winner was mentioned. Zili Zhang, I know I spelt that wrong. I could have taken 30 seconds to Google it, but it is what it is. And I put other names were actually mentioned, such as David Price, whatever, but I thought, I don't think people really want to see that fight unless there's really nothing else around. To be honest with you, I think people don't have too much faith in David Price anymore. And it's unfortunate because he's a massive, massive puncher. But I gave you the option of other, okay? Now, the winner, 36%, chose King Kong Luis Ortiz. So, southpaw Cuban fighter. I can agree with that. I would love to see that fight. I would love to see Hughie Fury take on King Kong Luis Ortiz. But it wasn't an overwhelming majority who chose Luis Ortiz, because the other ones I consider pretty close, both at 26%, Hunter Herkovich and Chisora Parker. And of course, if Parker was to beat Derek Chisora, then of course that would be a rematch for Joseph Parker and Hughie Fury. So of course that's going to have his interest as well. Michael Hunter, Filip Herkovich winner. That would be great as well. So for me, I'll be happy with any of these fights, to be honest with you. I'll certainly watch Zili Zhang for sure, but I think that Hughie Fury would find that fight quite easy, if I'm being brutally honest. But King Kong Luis Ortiz. So Luis Ortiz, in my opinion, is a good fighter. Yes, he's getting on in age and everything. And the reason that I say that is because, yes, he is older than Povetkin and everything, but apparently he's much older than that. Apparently, okay, I mean, I have no proof to that. The only kind of thing that I've really seen is his former amateur trainer saying add 10 years to his name. Is what it is. But King Kong Luis Ortiz, he's a guy who's been around for a while. They call him the Boogeyman. In fact, it was Tyson Fury who coined him as the Boogeyman as a joke, but now it fits certain narratives, of course, with the Wildettes, the Wilder fans. They'll say he's the Boogeyman, the most avoided man in boxing, all that kind of thing. No, he ain't. He's been offered numerous fights and turned them down. Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, and Shannon Briggs at one point in that as well. But for me, I'd like to see that fight. Is that fight possible to happen? Well, why not? Why not? I mean, where's Luis Ortiz going? He's not really going anywhere, is he? Unless Luis Ortiz gets a world title shot, he doesn't fight anybody. He fights gatekeepers and journeymen. That's what he does. And his biggest win is Bryant Jennings back in 2015. That'll tell you that he hasn't really stepped up. But people want to say, okay, he's really good. Okay, cool. Well, let's prove it. Prove it then. Get in there with Hughie Fury. Now, I don't really know how Hughie gets on with southpaws. I don't know. I mean, I know over the years he sparred Tyson hundreds and thousands of rounds where Tyson, he will go, well, he's a switch hitter, much like Hughie Fury is a switch hitter. So he can also fight at southpaw. So he is kind of used to having somewhat southpaws in training camp. I don't know how he gets on in the pro game. Maybe he's fought a couple of southpaws and I haven't really noticed that they're southpaw. It's possible. But I agree with this post, by the way. This poll, sorry. I totally agree. I would love this fight to happen. I don't think King Kong Luis Ortiz will take this fight. Honestly, I don't believe he'll take this fight. I think that he's waiting for an opportunity to go fight maybe the winner of Andy Ruiz Jr. and Deontay Wilder, should that fight happen, I think that's probably what he's waiting for. The PBC have some kind of plan for him. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know what's happening with Luis Ortiz. For me, this has to be a last roll of the dice. Do something now before you can't do something. And the way to get back into it is to get a good name on his resume like Hughie Fury. And let's be honest, if he was to beat Hughie Fury, I wouldn't favour him in that fight at all. I would favour Hughie Fury quite heavily. But if somehow he managed to pull off a victory over Hughie Fury, that's probably the best name on his resume. Would it not? Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Would an offer even go through? I doubt it. I don't think Eddie Hearn would even put an offer through, if I'm being brutally honest. I think Eddie Hearn wants to see him take on the winner of Parker and Chisora, which is kind of fair play. Why not? But anyway, that's my thoughts. That's the poll results. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.